Thanks for letting me interview you.
Okay.
Could you say a little bit about how the Masters in Holistic Science at Schumacher College started? When did you first think about setting up a program like that?
Well, it started when we developed the capacity for people to get credits for attending short courses, 3-week courses. We did that through the University of Plymouth. And that was about, maybe, 13 years ago or so. So people could come on a regular short course and get 10 master's level credits for that work. And we did that for about three years or so, and it was very successful. We got quite a few people doing the credits. I was the academic tutor along with Paddy O'Sullivan from the University of Plymouth and others from the University of Plymouth, and it worked really well. So the next phase was obviously to expand it and to do a fully blown master's degree of our own. And then I remember one day Vandana Shiva brought Brian Goodwin here to give a talk, and I was really delighted by his talk. And he loved the college, and gradually we realised that we could start a master's degree with him. So that's how it got going, really.
And when can you sort of give a little bit of a historic background of when the first masters was set up and how it sort of developed over the years?
Yeah, it was 10. I think we're in our 9th year, so this next intake will be the 10th. So it was 1998. We started off with 2 students, a professor of dentistry from South Africa and a Japanese student, just 2 students. And we just got going, really. It was very experimental. We had a module structure, all approved by the University of Plymouth, with 5 modules over 4 months, and then dissertation, and then 2 optional courses from the short course program. And it seemed to work very well. And the next year it went up. I can't remember how many we had the next year, 6 I think. And it just kept going up and going. Now it's sort of hit the ceiling of around 12 or so, 12 or 13. Mm-hmm.
And going back a little bit further, how did you first come to Schumacher College? And you've been here since the beginning.
Yeah, I'm one of the founders of it, yeah. Mm-hmm. How did I get here? Well, it was thanks to a Tibetan monk that I got here. Because I'd been in Costa Rica for 2 years teaching ecology at the National University, and then I came back to England for a little while. I was heading back to Costa Rica. But I was a member of a Buddhist group at Oxford, and this Tibetan monk came to that group who wanted to come down to Devon. So I agreed to be a chauffeur, and I came down here and heard about this nascent institute here. They hadn't called it Schumacher College at the time. That Dartington was wanting to set up, and I came over and talked to Satish and John Lane and various other people. And they said, well, why don't you become the ecologist for this new institute? And James Lovelock was going to be the first teacher. That had already been arranged. And that got me excited because I'd read his book and was very interested in his work. And then they decided to call it the Schumacher College, which I thought was a really brilliant name. So I decided that it was my destiny to come here. So I gave up on going back to Costa Rica and came here instead. And then began my friendship with James Lovelock, which has lasted all that time.
Yeah, that's the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about. You've collaborated with James Lovelock, and he's been a mentor and friend for many years. Can you say a little bit more about what you've been working on and what impact he's had on your thinking? And
Well, there's a sort of superficial answer and a deep answer. Mm-hmm. The superficial answer is straightforward. He gave me a computer, and he gave me the code in BASIC for Daisy World, and he said, just go and play with this, because I'd taught myself computer programming at Oxford when I was doing my doctorate, so I was familiar with how to structure computer programs, although I'm not a mathematician, but I was able to see how Daisy World works. I had the equations there, 6 equations, and I could see how he translated them into code. It was very, very interesting to see how that worked, how the numerical integration happens. Anyway, so I thought, wow, this is very interesting stuff. And then I hit on a few ideas for experiments, for making them Daisy World more ecologically realistic. So we worked on that together for about 5 years or so, and we published 2 papers on it. So I used to go to Coombe Mill a lot we were, talking to him on the phone quite a bit. These were in the days when really no one else much was interested in Gaia. He felt quite isolated, I think, and he was quite excited that there was someone, an Oxford biologist, as he said, who was interested in his work. Later on, lots of other people came, people from the Met Office, and Tim Lenton and other people joined in who are, really very, very able in this domain. Anyway, so I did a lot of work with him on that, but that's a superficial level of work. But the deeper thing is harder to pin down, actually. But it's that he's a very special personality, and he's got a gentleness and a softness, but also almost an indigenous understanding of what Gaia is. Poetic, almost animistic understanding. And all of that came through to me just through being with him, walking around his land, talking to him. He sort of gave me a lot of nurturing, a tremendous generosity and a mentoring that I received from him, which was more than just on an intellectual level. It was on an intuitive level, really. It's like being with a wise English Aboriginal elder. And so I've absorbed that quite a lot, and it comes through in the way I talk about Gaia.
So do you think that he holds a sort of scientific view of Gaia and also something that is deeper, that is almost like a spiritual, philosophical view?
I think so, although he wouldn't like me to say this.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a brilliant scientific understanding of Gaia. But he will say himself that he's very intuitive. I think he is very intuitive. I mean, he's a great inventor, and his inventions come out of intuition. Normally he sort of works on a problem, he doesn't get an answer, and works on it, and then at 3 a.m. he wakes up with the answer. And he talks a lot about intuition and the importance of intuition and the importance of the unconscious mind. So he's aware of these things. So yes, he's both very profound scientifically, but also he's got a very strong intuitive understanding of Gaia and of nature. And that's what makes him unusual, I think, and very special. And I think people feel that when they see him giving a talk or they meet him in person. That there's something unusual here that most scientists don't have. There's an extra dimension to this person that you don't find in most scientists, who are mainly intellectuals.
And